Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, my friends and family here on Facebook. I know I didn't let you know I was coming live today, but I got the urge to come in and talk to you today, so I'm going to do it. Let me know if you're on. I want to say hi, and I'm going to dive right in. So when you come in, let me know you're here. Hello, welcome, welcome. I just got off the most beautiful call this morning in another group that I'm in a business group that I'm in. And I feel like I need to come on here and use some of this awesome energy and spill it out into our group as well. So if you're coming on, please say hi. I'd love to say hi. Let me know you're here, but I'm going to dive right in because today I want to talk about healing work and talk about the work that happens inside when we do our own work. For those of you who know me, I am an intuitive healer. If you don't know me, hello, welcome to the group. If you do, if you've been here for a while, you know I love to talk about healing work and the changes that it brings in our life when we do our work. And today, as I was on this healing call this morning, good afternoon, Terry, I was in this other group and we were doing this call together. And some things came up and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go spill this energy out into my group as well, because the energy in this other group that I'm in is amazing. And but I wanted to talk about today healing work and what it does and some of the fears that it brings up inside of us. And that's mainly what I want to talk about today is I posted the title of this is, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of who you might become if you do your work? There's this attachment, this identity we get with the person who we think we are. And we get stuck in this mindset of thinking, oh, this is just the way we are. This is just who we are. You know, I've believed this. My parents believed this. We've done all these things for all these years and we're just here. It just is what it is. And I'm here to tell you, hello, Claudia, that is about the biggest, excuse my mouth if there's anybody around, bullshit lie we tell ourselves about this whole life that we live and the things that we're doing and that we don't have these opportunities to change. You know, we make excuses for ourselves on why we're where we're at. You know, we can blame it on because of my parents, that's the way they are, because of the life that I've lived, because of all these, whatever, you guys know what I am talking about. You know, we make all these excuses up on why we can't do our own personal work. And I've heard them all, I guarantee you. I have said a lot of them myself. For those of you who know my story, you know, about 15 years ago, I had, well, it's been a little longer than that now, I went through pretty much a total upheaval in my life. Everything that I thought my life was no longer. And everything that I was stepping into scared the complete, utter shit out of me. You know, I had been raised in a very religious family. I had been through a lot of things that I didn't understand as I was growing up. And suddenly I had these life-changing decisions to make that were standing in front of me. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and decide whether I was ready to step forward or if I was going to stay the person that I had always been. And I, of course, chose to step forward after a lot of deliberation and a lot of working with my ego. This is why I talk to you guys about working with ego, because my ego had made up a story. And if I stepped into this life of being an energy healer, being a medium in the woo-woo craziness that we all see, that meant that I would change. That meant that people wouldn't like me anymore. That meant all these excuses that I wouldn't be accepted. I wouldn't be accepted by the people that I had been raised with in the religious groups. I wouldn't be accepted by, and I made up all these excuses and I fought it for so long. And there finally came a point in my life where I said, you know what, if Spirit trusts me to do this work, I'm stepping forward and I'm just going to do it. And I'm just going to trust in the process, and I'm going to shut up the ego and shut up the bullshit stories that I had been telling myself about why I couldn't do this work and why I couldn't step into this place of who I know that I am designed to be. I even had people telling me around, why can't you just be happy with the life that you have? Why can't you just be happy to stay where you're at? Why is this such a, and I'm getting all of this from all around me, which was so confusing at the time, because I am having such an inner desire for change. And I know those of you who are on with me today, um, there's been a few of you that have been at that point where we have this desire to change. We have this desire to step forward in life. We have this desire to push, but the fear keeps coming up. And the fear keeps telling us, no, you can't do that. And the fear keeps saying, if you do that, this will happen. And if you do that, you won't be loved. And if you do that, who will you be then? And I want to tell you today, you need to push through that fear. You need to push through and learn that you are going to be okay. And no matter what happens, no matter who can, those of you, if you've read my book, you know that I had some things that came into my life. Yes, I was judged very harshly by people who I thought were my friends. Yes, I was judged, but I had to go through that in order to step into my own power. And it's just things that come up for you in your life. You have to go through those in order to step into your own power, in order to know that this is exactly where you want to be. What is your purpose? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Have you ever took a step back and said, who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing? If you're in a job that you're not happy with, and why are you staying? Why is it okay for you to stay in this place and not trust that there's something bigger for yourself? I don't think we ever ask ourselves, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? Who am I supposed to be helping? Who am I supposed to be showing up for? What is it that I'm here to do? Because I guarantee none of you came here to work an 8-to-5 job that you absolutely disgustingly hate, but you do it because you have to put food on the table. And there's going to be a lot of you who go, but I have to. I don't have a choice. No, we always have a choice. We just get comfortable in where we're at and not having to push ourselves forward. And staying in that comfort zone is what keeps us where we are. That fear of having to step out, and what if it doesn't work out, and what if things don't fall into place, and what if, all of these things that we tell ourselves. And one of the other comments that we got, well, maybe it's going to require you to learn something new. I have learned, I was just talking to my team yesterday, I was talking about all the things that I have learned this year. This year has been huge for me, starting a website, emails, marketing, doing all of this other stuff. I have learned leaps and bounds, and I was afraid at times. And I know that you guys have been in places too where you have been afraid, where you have just sat there and said, I can't do this. Who am I to do any of this? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't even know what this all means. None of it even makes sense. And we get in this place of confusion. It's time to step out of the confusion. It's time to step forward. It's time to step into your place. Do your personal healing work. We all have it to do. I seem to attract a lot of light workers into my corner, which was fabulous because we all speak the same mojo language, and it's awesome. But we all have a lot of the same fears. We all have a lot of fear of change and moving through and becoming something. Who will we be if we do this work? Who will we be if we step into this? The question is, to me, do you want to keep doing what you're doing and be in the same place that you are today and 20 years from now? Because if you do nothing, this is exactly where you'll be. It will just be a different time, a different place, but you will still be right where you're at today. And is that okay with you? Or are you willing to step forward and trust in the universe and do your work? We all have healing work that needs to be done. And we can do a lot of it on the side. We can get a lot of help moving through that. I've even got a lot of help here recently moving through my junk, because no matter what we do in life, fears are always going to come up. And it's whether or not you're willing to trust that there is something bigger for you out there than what you're doing right now. And for me, I'm raising my hand full force. There is something bigger for all of us. There is something bigger for each and every one of you. But are you willing to grasp it? Are you willing to take a step out, a leap of faith, knowing and trusting? For me, for a long time, I trusted that if Spirit trusted me, I would trust myself to do the work. And that worked okay for a while, but then I had to learn to step into my own self. And I had to learn to step into who I am designed to be and trust that I have it inside of me to do what I need to do. And you can do the same, each and every one of you. I look at myself and I'm no different than any of you here. I have just spent a lot of years doing the work, pushing forward, trusting in something bigger than myself. And you guys can all do the same. So I'm putting this out there for you today. I want you to learn to trust in something bigger than yourself. Hello, ladies. I see Ruth and Sandra. Hello, Carrie. You know, it's time to step forward. I think this year with COVID, I need a tissue, but I don't have one here. This year with COVID, it has been a time where we have all had to take a really good look at ourselves. And some of us didn't like it. Some people have spent a lot of time fighting against it, pushing away, doing a lot of other things so that they didn't have to pay attention to it. You know, some people have went to a lot of blaming and shaming and resentment and sadness and sorrow, and it's okay to go there for a hot minute. But the thing with healing is it's learning to rise above that and asking, what is it that I need to learn from all of this? What is it that I need to understand? We need to learn to ask better questions so that we get better answers. Because when we ask the universe, geez, why am I so picked on? What are they supposed to say? You're not picked on. You need to pick yourself up, is what they're telling you to do. It's time to pick yourself up. It's time to go, okay, you know what? I don't really like where I'm at right here. What can I do to make some changes in my life? What can I do to start propelling myself forward so that I get the healing work that I need, so that I can change my work situation, so that I can do some different things in my world and trust that there's something bigger for each and every one of us. Because I know you didn't come here, just like I said earlier, to just go to work and go home. Like, that's not what you were designed to do. None of us. We do need to work. We do need to provide for ourselves. We do need to do these things, but you can do it in a way where you absolutely love and enjoy what you do. And it's honing in, it's deciding that you are worth that work. You are worth moving that shit out of the way so that you know without a doubt that this is what you need to be doing. So that you know this is my purpose. And when you know that, there is nothing in this world that will stop you from getting where you need to be. Absolutely nothing. Not money, not time, not family, not anything. There is nothing that will stop you from stepping into that place. So I invite you all today to take a really, really, really good look at your life and ask yourself a few questions. You know, what am I afraid of? It was interesting in this call this morning, a lot of people were afraid of actually succeeding in what they were doing. It wasn't afraid that they were going to fail. It was afraid that they would actually do the work, and then who would they be when that happened? And I think for a lot of us, if we're really, really honest with ourselves, that is a big fear. You know, we take a step back and we, geez, who will I, if I do this, then what? If I do this, who will I be? And will I still be accepted? The answer is probably not in the group that you're in. You know, a lot of times when we do our healing work, friends come and go. People kind of move out of their life. If some people aren't afraid to step forward and do that work, they get very uncomfortable around you, and it's kind of hard to deal with that sometimes, but it's part of the process. It is absolutely part of the process. And it's hard to let relationships go, but as we do that, we get new, better relationships that come in the door. We get new, better people who are willing to cheer us on and help us through our progress and through the work that we're doing with ourselves. We bring in that vibration for ourselves. And how can that be? It's hard to let go, but if we do let go and allow this new energy to come in, you got a whole new support system out there. People who understand you, people who are in there for you, rooting for you, cheering you on, excited about the work that you're doing. And isn't that the kind of people that we want around us anyway? You know, I like I said, you know, I've been doing this work a long time, and I have had to let people go, and not even let them go. They've just kind of slid out of my world. But by doing that, I have brought in people who understand, people who are open, people who are supportive, people who are loving, people who appreciate, people, this bigger caliber of relationships. I feel like I need to talk about that as well. You know, because, you know, a lot of us who are light workers, who are empaths, who are, you know, there's a lot of words out there. We give, and we don't draw the boundary lines in there for ourselves. And so as we do that, are the group of people we have around us, as we start to change and move through, these people kind of slough off, because suddenly we're not as willing to just stop and do what they want us to do. And suddenly we're not as willing to give of our time and give of ourselves so freely. And those who have benefited from that the most have the hardest time with it. Those are usually, these were the people in my world that was telling me, why can't you just be happy to be where you're at? Why can't you just keep doing what you're doing? You're fine. Why do you always have to keep pushing so hard? Why do you always, you know, I would hear this backlash from this group of people around me. And it's because I wasn't as open and accommodating to them anymore. And they didn't really like that. You know, it was hard for them because before they had gotten everything from me. Give me hearts or thumbs up if you have relationships like this in your life and you know what I'm talking about here. Because as when we are givers and we just give, it's amazing who stays in our corner because we're willing to do that for them. But as we start to pull back and understand that we are worth more than that, and that relationships are based upon giving and receiving, not taking all the time. People will come and go out of our lives. They will come in because that energy was there, and as we get rid of that energy, as we do that work, as we become less accommodating, people kind of flow out, and it's okay. Usually those people are a little upset with us, like I said earlier, but it's okay, because as we learn to respect our own boundaries, as we learn to give and receive, that receiving part is very important in everything that we do, in money, in time, in all of these things. It is very important that we honor both sides of that. And if your relationships are off balance in that, this is something that you need to look at. This is something that you need to take a step back and go, where can I draw my boundaries at? What am I not willing to do anymore? Where am I feeling that I'm not getting fulfilled, and why is that happening? And here's the other thing with that is you can't even be mad at the people who are you feel that are doing this to you, because they're not doing it to you. You are allowing them to take that part of you. And it's deciding that you are no longer willing to do that anymore, because as you do that, those people will kind of slip off to the side, and new people will come in who honor the relationships, who definitely see that there are two sides to a relationship. And you get this new group, this new vibration. And it's not easy to go through that. It's not easy to see those changes happening, but it's absolutely essential that we go through this process in with our healing, because as we do that, we're leveling up to a new vibration. We're leveling up to a new understanding, and we are requiring more of those who are going to be around us in our circle of friends. So has anybody had to go through that? Has anybody had this up leveling going on? Has anybody had this happen in their life? Because it's kind of hard to go through sometimes. I've actually had it happen several times for me. This year with COVID has been one of those years. I realized that there were people around me in my circle that the relationships were off balance, and it's not okay. That's not okay for me anymore. It's not okay for me to be the one that's always doing the giving and not having it come back around. So, you know, think about that in your relationships. Think about that as you're working with people. Think about these things in your life. You know, who do you want to become? You know, is there something that you've always had in the back of your head that you've wanted to do for yourself, or something that you have wanted to do for in your business life or in your profession? You know, is there something out there that you've wanted to do, but you've been held back by doing that? And, you know, what excuses are you making for yourself and not letting that happen? I know for me, for a long time, it was my relationships. I can't do that. I don't have enough time to do that because I got to do this or I got to do that or I got to. No, I had to start making time for the things that I wanted. I absolutely had to start stepping. Yep, I'm getting the hand raised. Absolutely. Sandra's saying yes. Terry's saying yes. You know, we have to step into that place of going, nope, because I matter. The work that I do matters. My worth as a person matters. And as we start doing that, these people kind of slip out. We can allow it to happen. It can happen naturally, however that works. But we can allow that to move out. So I'm asking you today, who are you becoming? Is it who you want to be? Because we're always moving, we're always changing, things are going. Who is it that you want to be? What is it that you want to do? What excuses are you making for yourself for not allowing yourself to step into that for yourself? Does anybody want to share any of their thoughts? I would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Today I was so fired up. I absolutely love what healing does for people. I love working with people who are so open and coachable and ready to move forward. I love having them come and we talk, we move their shit out, move their beliefs out, and watch their lives completely transform in front of them. You know, most people will call me within the next week, oh my gosh, I had this happen. That is so different than anything that has ever happened. It has never turned out like that for me before. And they didn't do anything but do their healing work. That's when you know you're doing the work that you need to do. That's when you're stepping into your full purpose. This is when you're stepping out of ego and stepping into that intuitive spiritual side of yourself, knowing that you are right where you need to be. Yes, Claudia, healing is freaking amazing. There is nothing quite like it. You know, it's very interesting. I went to a healer just about a week and a half ago, and she was, well, I've always loved her work. I love this lady. I love her work. She only does a few private sessions every now and again, and I happened to get one of her sessions this year. And I went, and the hour and a half that I spent with her was worth $1 million to me. And I'm saying that in all honesty, because the things that we worked through, the things that she was able to help me see in a different light, the moving my crap out of the way so that I can do what I know I have been designed to do here, so that I can live full purpose, to me, it's priceless. Absolutely priceless. And when Claudia says healing is amazing, it absolutely is. And for me, my sessions with other people have been no different. There are times when I need help moving my crap out too. We get in our own way. We don't want to deal with what's really going on. We don't want to accept this is where we're at. And it's easier to allow us sometimes to let someone help guide you through that process so that you can do it, so that you can move the crap out that you need to move out. Sonia, awesome. I hope you're enjoying my book. So is there anybody who would like to share any thoughts? Is there anything that you had, anything that was brought up while I was talking about all of this? I can feel in my heart there's I have a lot of energy going on around me. I can feel a lot of energy that's going around about things that I'm talking about. You know, what are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know. Throw it at me. Throw it out here. You know, I have to say I would not be where I am today had I not stepped into this healing process, because we let ego lead our story. We let our story become those things that we've been telling ourselves for so long, and they're not true. They're absolutely just not true. All of these thoughts about we're not good enough and we won't be enough, and the money blocks and all of these things. I mean, I could go on and on and on about all the things that I've had to work through, getting out of my own way, trusting my own intuition. Doing my own healing work, releasing a lot of anger from my childhood, releasing a lot of anger from growing up and things that I went through, you know, dealing with the death of my brother. There's been a lot of things just along the way. And some things that have been traumas for me may not have been traumas for other people, but they were really hard to go through. But I can honestly say, looking back, I would not be the person I am today had I not done the work that I have done. Absolutely no way in hell that that would have ever happened, because I wouldn't have been willing to trust in something bigger than myself. I wouldn't, it's been probably about, geez, I don't even know how long, probably about 17 years ago that I went through letting go of all of my religious beliefs. That was a really hard time for me because I had to let go of everything that I had believed or thought was truth for me, and I kept portions of it, there's no doubt about it, but I really unraveled my entire life down to the last thread, and I built up a new foundation from that point. And for me, it was one of the best things I could have ever done for myself, because I don't think I would have stepped into who I am today had I not let go of all that. Now, I'm not saying that you have to let go of all of those beliefs for yourself, or all of there's nothing. The ones that you do need to look at is your worth. What is your worth as a person? What do you feel your worth is based on? Those are the kind of things. And if you're proving your worth to the God or the universe every day, or to people around you, that's something you need to look at, because that's not a spiritual truth for us. Our spiritual truth is, you didn't come here to earn your way to be here. You came here to have an experience. You came here to live this life, learning and growing and stretching and moving through, and just having an experience. Of course, learning along the way. Claudia says, my ego still gets me, but I'm improving on my relationships. Yes, that ego really wants to get in the way. That ego really wants to keep you very small. It doesn't want us to grow. It doesn't want us to stretch out and to blossom and to step into our purpose. Ego's purpose is to keep you safe. And if you think about keeping safe, that's usually hiding from our enemies, ducking behind rocks, staying in our own little circles and doing all these. But if you're doing your healing work, it's not going to work for you anymore. And this is where we have to get that new relationship with ego. There are times when we need ego in our life. We need courage. We need strength. We need those things from ego. What we don't need is ego telling us that we are unworthy, and that our stories are our truth, and that we just need to stay this way because this is just who we are, because those are not your truths. Those are absolutely not your truths. And learning to see the difference, and learning to understand, and learning to step into your intuitive side and seeking that spiritual nature for yourself, those are where your truth lies. That is where your truth is. So yeah, Claudia, I totally get that. I was even working with my ego just this last year. She seems to come up for me whenever I'm pushing forward, whenever I'm stepping out and doing something new. This is when I get her now. And I really have to work hard on going, no, that's not my story. That is not my story anymore. That's not who I am. We're rewriting the new story over here. So I get it. And you need to just sit down and take a back seat here for a minute. I know I can do this. I know I will do this. I have been doing this for a long time now, and I'm going to keep pushing forward and doing what I need to do. And you can all tell yourselves that is your new story. That is the one that we need to be telling ourselves, as I can, and I will keep pushing, and I will keep trying every single day to do what I need to do. So are there any other comments? Thank you for sharing, Claudia. So are there any other comments, any other questions, any other things that you might need help with? I encourage you all, if you are ready for change, let's get to work. If you are ready to step forward and absolutely watch your life transform, you need to hit me up, and let's make your 2021 the absolute best year of your life ever, because this is where you will see change. Terry says, my worth has always been taking care of everyone else my whole life. And then boom, I was by myself for the first time in my whole life, and I had to learn that my self-worth by taking care of me and figuring out who I am and my purpose. Yes, I'm going, yes, this year has forced me to do a ton of work in healing. So grateful. Yes, and you know what? We can all, there's things that happen to her. It's just like Terry, suddenly she went from being in a relationship to all by herself for the first time in her whole life. And we have to learn. Sometimes we're just thrown into it, and we just have to learn that this is how things are, and we're being forced actually to take a different route, to take a detour. It doesn't have to be that harsh, but some of us, just, that's what we need. We need the sledgehammer. We need this to move us forward. And for me, sometimes I think I needed the sledgehammer. I like the sledgehammer. It's like, oh, boom, you're in another, here you go. This is what you get now. So how are you going to deal with that? So Sonia, good, you know, can't wait for changes coming soon. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it is time to make changes. It is time to make time for yourself. It is time to give yourself the gift of healing. And I promise each and every person here, you have to be ready to step into it, though. You have to be ready to take the changes that are coming. You have to be ready. You know, just like Terry was saying, sometimes we're given the sledgehammer, and sometimes we can choose to do it. I've done it both ways. It's a lot easier when you choose to do it. But you know what? Sometimes I wasn't going to be able to, I couldn't choose. I was still on this path, and my path, suddenly there's a roadblock there, and you got to make a change. So I'm going to throw all this out here. If there's any more comments, I'd love to write them in while I'm talking here. But, you know, what are you being pushed and pulled to do? Is there something in your life that keeps coming up for you, and you don't even necessarily have to know how you're going to do it, but what is it for you? Does it keep coming up? Boy, I would sure love to do this. I sure wish I could do this. I sure wish that I could be. What is that for you? And what are you doing to push towards that? You know, I know, even doing my business stuff, I've had lots of changes. I've had lots of, I thought I was going this way, and then it would kind of shift and something else would happen. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with, it's called pivoting. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? And why are you not stepping forward and making those changes so you can do that for yourself? And what is it that is holding you back? What is it that you need to make changes in? What is it that is holding you back from doing what you really love? Because I think a lot of times we just don't think that we could make it, or we just don't think that we could ever do that, or we don't think, you know, for whatever reasons, whether it's business stuff, or, you know, maybe you love making quilts and you don't do it because you don't ever have time to do that, but you could actually be doing that and bringing money in. You know, what is it for yourself, and finding such satisfaction in your life doing that? So what is it for you? You know, what is it that you need to let go of? What is it that you need to quit making excuses about in order for you to become the person that you were always intended to be? And I ask these hard questions because you really need to sit with them and find your answers. And if you don't know your answers, if you don't know what it is, if that confusion comes in, maybe it's time to seek out some help and get those answers for yourself. And like I tell you, I have my healing, I have my healers too. I think it's amazing. I couldn't live my life or do what I do without them. And I'm grateful for those who put themselves out there to do that. So I'm just going to ask you again, if you're ready for change. You know what? This year has been tough for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be. And you can work through a lot of your changes. You can work through your stuff and get to a new place in your life. So I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to be your very best self. I love Terry. I know that she's done lots and lots of self-healing this year. Lots of figuring out who she really is, lots of stepping into that place. And that's the kind of work that it takes. That's the kind of dedication that it takes. This work is beautiful. This work is amazing. But you have to be ready to step into it, and you have to be ready to do your own inner work inside. So I'm just going to leave that message with you. I thank you all for your time today and for joining me. I thank you all for being part of my world. And really take a minute and go back and listen to this video, and stop it and pause it and take some notes. Write down what you get. You know, do some creative writing with all of this, and give yourself an opportunity. You know, I like to sit with myself and ask myself, what are my next steps? What is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do to serve at my highest? You know, these are all good questions. Ask good questions. Instead of asking yourself, you know, why can't I do this? Start asking, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to let go of to become who I need to be? And those are when you're going to get your answers. Those are what, you know, it's funny, a couple weeks ago when I needed healing, I kept asking, what do I need to do to move out of this slump? And I literally, like, I needed the sledgehammer because I kept hearing ask for help. And I'm like, who the hell am I asking for help from? Like, seriously? Um, and so it was funny, the next day I went and I was doing card readings for everybody, and guess what card came up for me? Ask for help. I'm like, oh, for the love of seriously, like, so I did, you know, and it was one of the best things that I've ever done for myself, because even the healer needs healing work. We need to move our junk out of the way. We need to move those limiting beliefs, those things out of the way completely from us, and healers can help you do that. So you know, there's a lot of things that we can do on our own. There's a lot of self-healing that I do on my own, but reaching out to people who have been doing healing for a long time, those are earth-shaking moments for me, and I'm grateful for each and every person who reaches out and does that work too as well. So I thank you all. Yeah, Claudia's heart. Yep, sending you lots of love, girl. So I think with that, I'm gonna let you go. My mind just like all settled down. I'm excited for all of you. I'm excited for this next year. And I hope you guys are excited too. And if you're not, let's get to work and do something different. So thank you for your time today. Much love to you all in your healing process. Again, you know, go back and listen to this and see, you know, if you can get some of your intuitive hits, get some answers for yourself, and start propelling yourself forward. So best of luck to you in your healing process, and I will talk to you soon.